have you ever heard of flower essences? Now, this is an area of herbalism that is much less known, less worked with. Look at her. Because I think it's easy to work with a medicine. These are all my essences and tinctures right now, by the way. So I have a whole bunch of body oils made. Here's a tincture, pine tincture, dandelion tincture. But I also have a collection of flower essences. So it's easy to work with medicinals because there's a tangible property to it. And I've spoken before about how we need to be careful about using herbals in place of allopathy. Because when you come into holistic remedies, and I want to, holistic remedies as a whole, I'm going to speak directly to herbalism, because it's kind of a deeper extension of holistic. So herbalism is using plants for supporting the body and in healing, detox, other things. Now, it's easy to look at something like a tincture and name the medicinal properties. It's good for respiratory issues, cough and cold, anti-inflammatory properties for arthritis and inflammation, calming effects to reduce stress and anxiety. There's a very tangible property when you create a tincture or a tea or an infusion that we can speak to. And it's similar to allopathy because we are seeking a remedy for a particular symptom or ailment. Now, there is a place for that occasionally. However, like I always speak to whole body healing, we have to be very careful not to treat herbalism like pharmaceutical medications, because herbals are the traditional medicine. Working with nature is the traditional way of healing and medicine. It's a very powerful calling in us that takes us into nature and connects us with plants and flowers. Now, there are stages to stepping away from allopathy. And this I've noticed very closely, and I've gone through it myself. And I think there is a purpose to the stages, because you are stepping out of allopathy and now you're going to seek a holistic remedy to replace the pharmaceutical medication that you've been taking. Okay, but next is, let's look within the body and see where these symptoms are coming from. Why are they there? What is the physical reason that it's coming up? And then we target certain organ systems or chakras, whatever it may be, from a physical standpoint. Chakras, I guess, technically isn't physical. That is more energetic, which I'm getting to. But you can connect the chakra spaces to particular areas of the physical body, like the heart center being connected to the heart and lungs. That's what I mean by that. And then there's stepping into the emotional and spiritual aspect, where you can connect a biological conflict of some kind. German New Medicine talks about this as well. And some sort of trauma, wound, emotional experience that creates kind of a waterfall effect of something coming into a symptomatic form that we can name. But there is an emotional and spiritual root to it. And then there's a depth deeper of energy and frequency, like pure energetic vibration of how the body is created. So there's different levels of healing work, and tinctures and teas often work at a physical level. But once you start to dive deeper into plants and their spirit, then you start to get a little bit more into the emotional and spiritual and energetic medicine. So flower essences serve as an emotional healing support that helps harmonize the body at a very baseline energetic level. So at the core of it, flower essences are frequency medicine. And I think a lot of times when people get into herbalism, there is a block that doesn't allow them, at least in the beginning, to get into the spirit of a plant or a flower in particular. With this, we're using the flower of the plant, and it offers support and healing to the body at a very vibrational level. It helps support in emotional and spiritual healing rather than just looking at the physical part. It goes to a deeper root cause of why we are experiencing symptoms of some kind. Often it can be more mental illness related things, which lead to physical manifestation of disease as well. So we're just going, it's almost skipping the other bodies, which we have the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, and going directly into the spiritual plane, the spiritual body. Even the etheric and energetic plane as well. So it's going past the physical, and it's not a type of bypassing to avoid a certain level of healing. It is a different kind of depth work. Now, it doesn't mean that you are bypassing your genuine healing work. It just gives you support from a greater divinity, we'll say. Because within plants, within flowers, so now we're talking about the flowers in particular, they each hold an emotional imprint in them that gets absorbed into the water when we are creating it. And then you preserve that frequency with an alcohol, brandy usually, and then you take it in small doses to bring subtle energy shifts in your body. And you use it for a period of time, and it can be very subtle, but hugely transformative. Now, my story with flower essences really got solidified when I was drawn to, I can't find it here. Not Snapdragon. It was a magnolia. I don't think I have the magnolia here yet. So I was very drawn to the magnolia flowers. And I remember driving past them and I literally just stopped because they were so beautiful. And I was like, wow, I need these. Like something is calling me so strongly to these flowers. And I just got started making flower essences, so I didn't really know what the properties were or what kind of emotional healing it could support in. And I got the flower. I put it in some spring water that night. Sat it in the sun for a few hours. It absorbs into the water, and then you preserve the water. And then I went to, hold on, I have my kind of, I don't know where it is now. I have my little instruction manual that identifies the flower essences and their support. And I had found magnolia helps in supporting you through addictive behaviors and allowing you to move through and eliminate addictions from your body. And that was amazing to me because what happened after I started using magnolia, I think it was maybe a week of using it that I was tuning into its energy to kind of figure out its properties and how it was helping me, to where I found that piece about the addiction. And I had been actively trying to quit smoking for a couple years now. I had only been smoking for maybe 3 or 4 years. And it started after divorce, and I wanted to get rid of it for good. And I was very adamant about quitting smoking, but it just wasn't right, or I kept falling back. So I had found magnolia right in the time that I needed it. And it called to me when I needed it, and I didn't know why. And from that day, I started taking magnolia. I have not had a cigarette since. And I can't even put into words how it happened. There's not much. It was just like this clarity happened and my desire for it was gone. And like now I'm grossed out by the smell of smoke and the cigarettes and all of it. But it wasn't even a conscious decision. Like I knew I had wanted to quit. But it's like it's like slowly, it just the need for it or the desire for it just evaporated away. And like I said, haven't had a cigarette since. So that's really what made me start to believe in its power, even in the most subtle way that they work with your body. It works in an energetic, emotional, spiritual, supportive way to bring harmony into the energetic field of your body. It can bring up a lot of things in you. You can start to notice a little bit more emotional response rising. It's getting really windy. I need to close my window. And it's basically an invitation for you to do a bit of self-reflection and work with what is rising. And I feel like this is a really powerful healing medicine for the world. And I feel like it's going to be something really expansive. and is what I'm going to focus on personally as I support women through purification work, preparing for pregnancy and birth, and having embodied motherhood, and as a mother's keeper. There's so much here, and I've only just begun my journey with it. I was going to try to look up, but now I don't even know where. I saved it somewhere. My flower essence. There it is. I have a flower essence guide that I was going to make into a book that I have forgotten. There it is. All right, let's find Magnolia. I want to read exactly to you what I had found from it. And then I'm going to show you how the pendulum works. Magnolia. And a lot of these flowers came to me without me searching at all. I just kind of went out on walks or hikes, and they just kind of showed up in a really powerful way. I felt a calling to them, so I knew they were meant for me. Okay, Star Magnolia. Clears toxins, pollution, electromagnetic radiation, and addictions. Sacral support. Magnolia comes to you when you're ready to release any addictions. And the phrase, the affirmation that comes with it, I ask you to stop putting yourself and your beautiful body through this discomfort. Allow me to help you release impurities for your highest good. And yeah, that's my story about that. So I'm going to be expanding even deeper into flower essences. Right now I have all these containers. I don't know if you can see all these here. These are all the essences I have made. And then I also have a whole container of all these are the mother essence, which is where I make the tinctures from. So this is the mother stock essence, and then I make the mother essence, and then I make the stock bottles from these. And they last a very long time. They hold the frequency. So how the pendulum works. So as I'm working with somebody to figure out what essence they need for their body, we go through the bottles and you literally hold them and ask, do I need bellflower? Now, I know previously from my questions, I know this is a no. It's going counterclockwise. For me, when it's a yes, it goes clockwise. So I'm going to see if I can get a yes out of any of these. Do I need lilac? You see it's going clockwise now. Took a little bit there. Sometimes if it's a slow yes, I'll keep it aside, kind of see what else comes up, and then I will redo it, and often it'll kind of filter out the ones that were like a slow yes. So this is called muscle testing, and chiropractors do similar. This is just the flower essence way of doing muscle testing. Do I need self-heal? And see, I'm waiting for it to show on the pendulum, but I already get in my mind a message right after I ask it, kind of a clear yes or no, and I wait for the pendulum to show the response. I got cut off at 20 minutes, so I just wanted to pop back in and say I'm going to share more of this in the future. If you want a session with me, contact me now.